this really is truly an honor to have you involved with CalJam this year. I mean, I love everything that you stand. I love you as a person, and I've said that to you many times, and I love what you stand for, and you're really kind of getting on boat with us in chiropractic, and hopefully we can make a huge change in this world. And I just want to thank you for being involved.
Well, Billy, it's firstly, you guys have got to learn to lighten up. You've got to learn you've got to learn to have some fun, you people. I mean, no, seriously. One thing I discovered from going to chiropractic meetings, people were, one, incredibly happy. They were just so happy. And number two, they were so healthy.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, when I go to my medical meetings with my colleagues, they're miserable.
Yeah.
They're overweight, they're miserable,
They're on
nothing's going
drugs.
right. And I'm thinking, who do I want to be with?
Mm-hmm.
Who's doing the right thing here?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a no-brainer. So it's for me, it's a tremendous pleasure. And just a quick word. And the other thing it did for me is to get me a chiropractor. So here's for Pat's a Chiropractic in Austin, and Julia Pinkerton. I tell you, chiropractic's one thing.
Oh yes,
but when you've got a hot chiropractor,
dude, she is
altogether.
so hot.
That is something altogether.
Wow. And she had just graduated from Life.
She did.
Yes,
that's right.
Yeah, okay.
So we have her down in Austin. We're not letting go of her.
Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions. I don't know if these are questions that might be asked later, but what was your first impression with the whole CalJam environment?
I'd been told. I had some expectations. People said this was going to be wild. It's extraordinary. It's absolutely extraordinary. I sent some footage back there.
Wild? They really said it was
back
wild?
To my, I sent some little clips back to the people in it. What are you doing there? You're meant to be at a conference working. What are you doing?
Right.
Fantastic and incredibly informative.
Yes.
I mean, just some great talks. And
well, who were some of your favorite talks?
I haven't heard Sherry talk for a while, and she gave an outstanding talk today. One of my favorite speakers is the guy who's actually on now, talking about GMO foods. That blew me away last time.
Oh yeah, when you heard him at the Wave.
That's right. And what I realized about that was how the market forces, just within 19% of people saying, that's it, we're not having any more GMO foods, then the people who produce this stuff say, we're going to back off. Right. Because, and that's a very, that tipping point is
that's
actually...
the whole tipping point. And
that's manageable, isn't it?
That's really what's going to save us, I think, is the fact that we just, that's what CalJam is really focused on, is trying to wake people up, and we try to do that through the chiropractors so that they can go back to their practices and to their communities and literally go back without any chains or leashes and go back and just deliver the message and not worry about what people think, because the world is so ready for all this information.
So ready. I mean, the more pressure that the authorities put on people in my arena on vaccination, the more they say to Joe Public, you're going to take your kid to do this, or this is what we're going to do, we're going to take the child away, we're going to send you to prison, we're going to have a gagging order against you. Even if you don't believe the vaccines cause autism, you're going to say, hang on, what about the Constitution? Back off.
You can also smell a rat sometimes. That is the way I like to say it. Because I mean, if something's so good, why are they pushing it so hard? Is one of the questions I've always had. Now you've been through kind of living hell. I mean, I was kind of complaining a few minutes ago about my stress here. You want to elaborate a little bit on that?
I could do, but the truth is, every time I see the next kid with autism, what's happened to me is a chipped nail.
Oh yeah. That is another putting things into perspective, because I see that too in my practice all the time. You see these, and I think about myself, this life of this child has been destroyed. I mean, some kids you can bring back, but there's some kids that are so neurologically damaged, and I'm going to talk about that in my talk tonight, and it's like the video is just horrible. It's just, and the problem is people don't want to see reality sometimes, and they don't want to realize what's going on in the world, and I think we need to really wake these people up. And I've said this, and then this is not your opinion, I think vaccines to me are the biggest diabolical hoax ever on the planet. And I asked one of our speakers here, who's a very prominent speaker in public, and not in public, in my office, I said, are there any vaccines that you think have any efficacy at all? And she's from a medical background. She goes, no, they all suck. And it's just, and I think I asked you at the dinner when we were down at the pediatrics gig what your opinions were.
Well, my opinions have gone from one place
to another.
Right. Completely. What happened to me is that parents would come and say this was MMR. So I'd say, fine, okay, let's have a look at that.
Right.
But then I came to America and I went to meetings and I heard people talking about thimerosal. What's that? And then I learned. I thought, holy mackerel, what is that doing in there? That's one of the most potent toxins on the planet.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know this because this is way back in. In 1997-8. So it was at the beginning of this process. That's right, and that's when it kind of hit the fan, and then aluminum and all these other things. And the more you learn, the more concerned you become. And Sherry taught me things today that I didn't know, and so.
But how could you not know that coming out of medical school?
No one told you. No one told you.
Because you graduated in 81.
81.
And I graduated in 85. So
and this is my problem. This is my fault. I was a father, and my kids, 2 of my kids before, had MMR vaccine. I didn't know. Mea culpa. I did not do my research to see whether this was safe or not. Yeah, well, look at the government says it's safe. Doctors, my colleagues say it's safe. No, it is not safe.
Behind it. I mean, that's.
Well, here's the other thing. They're not. People say in the media, the great majority of doctors support the safety of MMR vaccine. The great majority of doctors don't know. They have absolutely no idea. They're orthopedic surgeons or ER doctors. They don't know. It's a big lie.
It's not their
specialty.
You've got
some people. That's right. You've got some people in public health. You've got some paediatricians who are making a lot of money out of it, and they have very strong opinions about it. The great majority of doctors are agnostic, or in many cases against it. So, and they're not getting their own children vaccinated. That's the other thing to bear in mind. So,
what percentage do you think that would be in reality?
I can't predict, but I do know. Here's one statistic that was really interesting to me. Rob Schneider said the other day that in Orange County private schools, 90% of parents are refusing vaccine.
Right.
So that kind
Orange County, California.
That's right. That kind of gives you a barometer of what's actually going on.
And can I take a little bit of credit for that? Because
you can.
Because I'm from Orange County, and this is Orange County, and you can see how we bring in. I mean, I've been telling this story for probably 20 years now, and back in the early days, everybody thought I was like a freak. They still think that, but all my brothers are chiropractors. And we've all done the same thing. We've all just been really, like what we've learned today, been really huge educators on everything. Yeah, we obviously chiropractic, but everything from eating healthy to vaccines to healthy pregnancy. Because the thing is, we need to change the whole perspective and the paradigm of what people believe. And because everybody has no faith, and they've lost hope.
Go from there.
Billy's the man. He was where you heard it first. Okay, so
no, but I think we've created, and that's why I want this event to grow. Is because then, I mean, obviously we've got people from all over the globe here. We got Australia, New Zealand, South America, Europe. I mean, we've got to get this message spread out, and there's nothing stopping word of mouth. There's nothing stopping the spread of this information, other than the fact that people are just don't have the cojones to do it sometimes. And you got big cojones.
Can you take that? I know.
Do you want to cut that out?
No. I'm joking. No. Go with it.
That's what I like about this guy.
My life may
He's
change.
real. You know. And then I had dinner with you. You were just such an articulate, beautiful, loving, caring person. And you hear all the lies that people spread about you, and it's just like. And then I still hear that stuff. You're in bed with Andrew Wakefield, and he's just a crook, and it's like. Have you ever, like, people think that about me too, and it's like, have you ever just hung out with the dude, and just chatted with him, and I know you truly care about people, and you truly care about kids, or you wouldn't even put your neck on the line.
Yeah, it's inevitable. This kind of thing's going to be said. It's going to happen, and anyone who reads a Murdoch newspaper, as long as they can, deal with the bad English, the bad grammar, they're going to. That's the message they're going to get.
Right.
And. But it's a failing public relations exercise. It's failing. The more vicious it gets, the more it's failing. And I say to people, look, they say, oh my God, how can you go through that? I say, we're winning.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
If we weren't winning, they would back on. They wouldn't be this mean.
Right.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Because people ultimately want the truth.
The truth.
And they want health.
There it is.
And they want to have a great life for their kids. And where do you see some of the other bigger issues? I mean, I know the vaccine issue we've pretty much handled. Bigger other issues as far as we talked about GMO, and if we want to cut this out, we can. But do you think there's any type of depopulation agendas?
It's an interesting question. People have said this to me time and time again, and I've the humanitarian in me has thought, why would they do that? It's such a let's just say they were going to do it, would be such a clumsy way of doing it. You give the most vaccines to the American people. You've got the sickest kids in the world in America.
But they're trying to bring this country down.
Well, you know, you would think if they were going to depopulate,
because this is really the last resistance, I think, is America. I mean, you know, we still have guns and we still have right to bear arms, and you know, we still have freedom of speech. And I mean, I don't know how much longer we're going to have all those things, but I mean, I think this country is really the target.
I think this country has gone so badly awry from Joseph Stalin said, ideas are more dangerous than weapons. We don't allow our enemies to have weapons. Why would we let them have ideas?
Right.
And what this is about, to me, is about control. We are in control of you. To hell with the Constitution. You will do what we say. And the American people, quite rightly, is saying no.
Right.
No, we won't. And that's what I love about this group of people here. They are saying, no, we won't do that.
Right.
And the harder you push, the harder we're going to push back. So bring it.
And this can be on the record or off the record. What would be your opinion of what happened at the World Trade Center?
You know, I've
because you're outside America to some degree, and you sometimes probably get what I would consider real news, or I don't know. I'm not sure what it's like in Europe.
There are some things about that need explanation to me, as a trained observer.
But have you looked into it?
Have you
looked down the rabbit hole
of the films that I've seen? I have one question, and that is, what happened to the third building? How do you explain
Building 7
to that third building?
And
Please
how was it
them.
pre-released on BBC 20 minutes before it happened? Those are questions that nobody's ever answered to me.
Yeah, this is what I need. I need to understand. I can quite believe that Al Qaeda did that.
You think that's sophisticated?
If you can explain to me what happened to that building, if it genuinely, as is portrayed in the news and elsewhere, that building collapsed. Why did that building collapse? And I've listened to that guy who gave a wonderful talk, who was an architect, and he got together with a whole bunch of architects and engineers and analysed all of this. And these were sane people who said, hang on, we know about buildings, we know about engineering. No, it shouldn't happen. So what happened to that third building? That's all I'm asking. Just tell me, explain it, because otherwise...
What happened and why was it pre-released on the news before it actually happened?
That I didn't know.
That's the smoking gun.
Right, okay.
We'll show you the video if you'd like to see it.
Yeah. So, I need answers to that kind of thing.
Okay, do you think you'd come back to CalJam again, or are we too crazy and wild?
No, I'm going to come.
Because you're it. You know what? You're in the family.
I would be heartbroken if I wasn't invited. I got it.
You're in the family whether you like it or not. And the dinner was great last night too, wasn't it? Very exquisite.
The whole thing was great. Yes. The whole thing's great. No, I would be sorely disappointed if I wasn't invited.
You're coming back, dude.
Thank you.
And I call you dude once in a while.
Dude is good. Thank you. Man.
So thank you so much. And can you do rock and roll? All right. There we go.
Texas.
Hook 'em horns.